Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kemi.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time.
In this episode, we're going to talk about why we wanted to make this podcast, because that's what you're supposed to do with your first episode. We're going to talk about how we found the Wheel of Time, what the Wheel of Time means to us as queer people, and why we wanted to make this podcast. So I thought I'd get us started by asking Kat how you discovered the Wheel of Time.
So, I've always been into fantasy. Lord of the Rings was really the first fantasy series that I really got into. I read The Hobbit in grade 5 and fell in love with it, and then basically reread Lord of the Rings on and off for the next 10 years after that, until I went to my local bookstore one day, asked one of the employees what has a similar vibe, because I love world building. I love really in-depth character growth and arcs, and they recommended Eye of the World. I devoured it. And then at the very end, at the back where you sort of, you see the future books in the series, I noticed that there were 14 books in this series, or I guess 13 books at that time. So I realized what a big commitment it was.
You got trapped.
I got trapped, exactly.
What year was this? Like when?
So this would have been, it was just before A Memory of Light. So it's like,
oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
2011,
So
2012, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Did you read all of the books before A Memory of Light came out?
I did. I'm
Okay.
so particular about reading things in order. I'm really, really particular about it.
No, I meant were you caught up by the time A Memory of Light came out?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Perfect.
Not at all. I got stuck in the so after Fires of Heaven, I stopped reading and got mad at the series a little bit. I got a little miffed and I stopped reading. And then I picked it up again because Nynaeve she is my first love in this series. And so I had to know what was going to happen with her and I guess everyone else, but specifically with her. And then took another break, maybe in the 10th book or something, and then finished it, powered through the rest, and then actually didn't read New Spring until maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of, I want to say how, but I actually did the same thing.
There you go.
New Spring is the last book that I've read last summer. I only finished the series last summer, but I started it 15 years ago. So it took a bit of time.
Did you pause in between, or are you just a really slow reader?
It's not my fault. Okay, it's really not my fault. It's the French edition it's a freaking mess. The last 2 books still haven't come out in French, which is a nightmare.
That's
I love that.
That's wild.
No, I hate that because when I started them, I started them as a kid. I could only read French, and I think at that time maybe everything up to book 6 was published, and which means 12 books because French edition always split it by 2 books, and then they were taking forever to come out, and then they switch edition company twice. The first time because it was an editing company that just shut down its fantasy section. So another editing company took over starting from where they had left off, but they changed translator. And the translation was very bad, so it didn't really got success. But really, there's some, for example, I think the Maiden of the Spear, they were translating them by the equivalent of the Virgin of the Spear, something
the
like
Virgin
that.
of the Spear?
The
Virgin
of the Spear. That is, That's actually kind of into that, though.
Yeah, I'm not against it. but I also don't love it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, there was a few
I mean, they're
translations
synonyms-ish.
It's true. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
so they
Virgin Spear,
tried.
starring
and I
Hacienda.
Sorry, at the end.
They're not even virgin, so I don't even know where
No.
that came out. Like they're
No,
Exactly.
maiden and virgin are synonyms, so it makes sense, kind of, but not really.
Yeah, I think the term is a bit different. So anyway, so I don't even know
So
where I
wait, if
wanted
the
to start.
last two books haven't been published in French, like, are they going to be? Because it's been
Yes.
10 years.
Yeah, but like basically,
Okay.
it's a new editing companies. I started from the beginning again, like back in
Oh.
2010, 2011, something like that. They got delayed a
Okay.
bit at some point for
Okay.
like book rights.
Right.
And basically, what's happened is that, if I understand well, it's Harriet McDougall that just figured out that the books were not having the success they should have in France. So they just decided to start with another editing company, start with a new translation, come back from the beginning, and a new beginning.
This
There are
sounds like
neither
what...
beginnings nor endings in the Wheel of
Exactly.
Time.
But it was
It's
a
unreal.
beginning.
It was a beginning.
For like the 100th time.
It sounds like what DC does, what DC Comics does, like
Oh my
every
God.
2 years, where they reboot the series. And you have
Rebirth.
no idea. Rebirth, year one, it's just never ending.
I did not know you
Marvel
were a
does that
DC
too.
Comics nerd, Kat.
I'm a comics nerd in general. I'm a nerd.
Really?
I'm a nerd.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I read a
Marvel
few comics,
Marvel is
that's,
my go-to, but DC has
never mind.
has some stuff.
We can stop the recording now. I don't want to participate with this person.
Oh,
Let's stop the podcast. No
All
more
right,
podcast
sorry,
anymore.
guys.
Hey, I love comics too, okay? I like them with A1 sauce. I like them with salt and pepper, roasted, raw.
Delicious.
Delicious.
So good.
This is James rolling their eyes.
Sorry.
I think we've lost James, and which is very funny because James is the one who wanted to start that podcast, and now he's already regretting it.
Yeah, I know. I have so many regrets, and it's like, what, 15 minutes in?
You picked the person you wanted to do a podcast with.
You did.
You just
I know, and
needed to
again,
make a
I
better
said I have
choice.
regrets. I don't know. How do I make this more clear for you?
Well,
anyway, James, how did you find out about the series?
I am very old compared to all of you in regards to the
That's
Wheel
not
of Time.
true.
And just old in general.
You're literally older than I am, so please be quiet.
Fake news.
Fake news. That will never... Oh
wait, so what does that make me?
Well, how old are you,
Are
Kat?
you the oldest? I think you're older than Matt.
30,
I'm the
30
youngest.
something. 34. 34.
Okay, so I'm not the oldest one here.
No, I am the oldest.
I never said you were. I just said you were older than I am.
Oh.
You said James was the older.
Can confirm.
I was trying to say... I've been reading The Wheel of Time for 17 years, just to get back on topic. So
It took us 5 minutes to completely lost track of what was happening.
I discovered The Wheel of Time because my 6th grade teacher, shout out to Miss Shomo, she's French, by the way, Shomo. So my 6th grade teacher was reading The Dragon Reborn, and because I was a 6th grade boy at the time, dragons are very cool to 6th grade boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very disappointed when there weren't actual dragons. However,
So you got betrayed too.
I got betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was hoodwinked and bamboozled. But like halfway through halfway through the Eye of the World, I was like, this is really cool and really interesting. So I Googled it, or maybe I Yahoo searched it. I don't know. And I found Tarbalon.net's chat room, and I was a member of that site forever. But yeah, no, that's kind of how I found the Wheel of Time.
Teachers are great. Look at teachers spreading the Wheel of Time love.
That's great. Where I come from, the teachers just spread the Bible love.
That's
No, Karen Haymond in high school forced us to sing hymns in choir. That woman, Well, I
Wait.
don't know what she's doing in her life right now, but bless her heart.
What hymn
Anyways,
specifically? I'm curious now.
it was the Baptist hymnal, and
Yeah.
I don't know. She didn't like it when the seniors picked secular songs for their graduation, and she would rewrite them to be more biblical.
She would rewrite them?
Yes. And guess where she was January 6th? Not to bring that into the whole thing, but
Woof.
so that's the sort of high school I went to. So James, you are lucky.
I mean, this was 6th grade, so it was middle school.
Oh, okay, yeah. My middle school teacher was okay. I don't remember her name, so she must have been good. I'm pretty much a baby with the Wheel of Time. Like, I started in law school, which is like 2012 to 15. Like, I had several false starts. I read the first 3 books, and I'd make it through the 4th book like halfway through, and then just stop because it was so big. And law school it just kills your love of reading. But I made it through the whole series for the first time when I really tried to push myself to rediscover reading, and I used The Wheel of Time and a lot of kids' books that were easy to read and easy to get through fast to sort of deprogram myself from the whole lawyer mentality of you have to read books to analyze them, and it taught me how to enjoy books for the story and the characters and not necessarily for the analytical aspect. So I feel like there's a gap in my life of about 5 years where I just didn't know how to read, and Wheel of Time was instrumental in closing that gap, I guess.
Oh,
that's so cool.
I wanted to make a really snide remark about how like you were reading the kids' books like Green Eggs and Ham and also The Wheel of Time at the same
Matilda.
time. And I'm like,
Matilda is a great book.
Don't you
I have
insult
no idea
Matilda?
what that is.
I've never read Matilda.
Amazing.
Matilda was
I've seen the movie.
Matilda was one of my childhood icons.
She is an icon.
Tracks.
She is the
I feel
moment.
I feel like I should know about her, but I don't. So
She's really great on Twitter, the actress.
Camille, come on.
I mean,
do you want me to tell you what I was reading when I was a kid? Because that's not books that probably exist here. Like that was books happening in French town. So no, not data analytics. Fuck you, man.
Also, like, reading children's books or like middle grade books is a very good way to get out of a reading slump. I've done that before, and it works really well.
Yeah, I'm currently like getting out of one, and I'm reading Percy Jackson because Matt wouldn't shut up about Percy Jackson.
Okay, well, you know what? Percy Jackson is like
I haven't read it.
The best. Okay, Camille, you need to read Percy Jackson. So first of all, it is an amazing series, and second of all, the author of the several mid 2000s prominent children's books authors, Rick Riordan, has not become a massive transphobic dickwad. Unlike someone who lives across the pond, and I won't mention that person's name, but Rick Riordan's amazing. He is a fluffy, wonderful peer man, and the Percy Jackson series is amazing. And we get a Black Annabeth, and I am so excited about that.
So excited. Oh my god. Ugh.
I'm not involved in the Percy Jackson fandom, so I'm not seeing any backlash. It's just all of the people that are like...
Don't look under the announcement posts.
No, I'm not. That's fine. It's just I got enough of the Wheel of Time backlash.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as bad as the Wheel of Time backlash, but there is some.
Yeah.
I feel like in every fandom there's going to be some. So
It's okay. I love my quiet little bubble that I've curated for myself.
Well, okay. I think we could probably, I suppose, move on to like what the Wheel of Time means to queer people in general.
Yeah, like why do gays love the Wheel of Time?
Do they?
Yeah.
It's a very gay fandom.
So the funny thing is that whenever I was reading the Wheel of Time, like especially when I was reading it as a kid, I was definitely not reading to look for any kind of representation, because that was also at a time where I didn't know that representation was something that I could have, because that was something that I did not have. And when you don't have something,
did you know that you were
gay
missing when you were reading it?
I mean, kinda. I mean, I started having doubts like early middle school, but it took me like 8 years to finally like be able to tell that to my family. And But
Yeah.
so what I was relating a lot with the fantasy in general, I'm a big fantasy reader. And what I really liked at the time is that typical hero journey where you get like some random kids from like a town out of like in the middle of nowhere that has to leave that, and there's always this discovery of either your own powers or your own destiny and this kind of thing. And it's really about living where you come from in order to be allowed to be who you're supposed to be. And it was something that I was relating a lot because I was from a small town. I was afraid of like coming out because I was afraid of, oh, my family would get it. And that's something that I only did once I had left home and moved to another town. And I moved quite a few times further and further away because that was also my way of being able to be myself.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's probably why I really like that kind of hero journey of fantasy books, but I wasn't reading that specific for the queer part. And now that I'm rereading the series, I do find some themes that could be queer related. There's a bunch of like themes that comes up that queer people can relate to, but I'm also at a stage where like I don't care for crumbs of representation anymore. So I'm like, yeah, sure, that seems that could be used for queer people, but I mean, I want more than that. So when I'm reading that, I'm reading for the fantasy part, and I am very happy about the show because that's making queer representation a bit more visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a sort of a similar experience as Camille because I usually don't read stories for representation. I just read them for the story, acknowledging that we need more diverse fantasy and diverse YA, etc. But I just generally don't read stories for representation. What pulled me in is, well, I guess it's less about what the books mean and more of what the fandom means to me because I read the books for the most part without Twitter of Time, and then I got introduced to Twitter of Time and all of the queer people in it. And I didn't pick up a lot of the subtleties on my first read through because I also read gay YA, which is just in your face representation. It's just all very blatant in a good way, unapologetic. And when you're reading something like that, you just don't necessarily look for subtext or things to read into when you're reading a complex fantasy series that has pages and pages and pages of skirt smoothing. So basically on my next reread, I'm going to look for a lot more of those subtleties because a lot of people have pointed them out to me. So I feel like there's a richness to the world that allows queer people to see themselves or the possibility of themselves that a lot of fantasy book series don't have. And, of course, adding the television show just expands that world because, a lot of us consider it to be another turning of the wheel. A gayer turn of the wheel.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so, no, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the fandom because like that is one of the things that I really, really love about the Wheel of Time. Like way back in the day, like I said, I joined an IRC chat room when I was like 14, like to talk about the Wheel of Time.
I love it.
And then they had a forum and it was like back then in like the early editions of the books, like the fandoms were printed in the back. Like you saw Theoryland on there, you saw Tarvalon.net, Dragon Mount,
in the
a few
backs
others
of the book?
I can't remember. Yeah, and they were printed in the very back, like just as like ways to find out more about the Wheel of Time.
Huh.
Like online communities and stuff.
That's amazing.
And
I love that. I didn't realize that. I have the newer copies, I guess. So
I don't know if I still have any of my super old ones because I know they're on like the paperbacks, and I don't have any of the paperbacks left. But I'll see if I can find some because it listed a whole bunch of them. And that's kind of how I found Tarvalon.net. But like watching the fandom grow, like as social media has grown, has been like super, super crazy. Because I've been in it and it's been like the same 100 people for like that have stuck around. Maybe a little bit more than that, but it's been really cool watching it grow on Twitter.
Has it been growing a lot more with the TV show, or did you notice like big changes following this series coming up on TV? Or
Tarvalon.net, which is what I was heavily involved in, was very, very closed off, is a good way to say it, I guess. Like, I didn't really interact that much with other organizations. I went to JordanCon 5 in 20...
A long time ago.
Yeah, I was like 2012, I think, or 2013.
Okay.
And that was like, oh, cool, there's an entire convention for JordanCon. And a lot of my friends are involved in that. And then I went back for JordanCon 10. And that was kind of my big exposure to, oh, there's a whole bunch of other people. Because JordanCon was founded by Jen Liang, who is one of the founders of Dragon Mount, who also helped organize all of the book signings for The Wheel of Time, the last 3 books that Brandon finished. So it's a very small community, but at the same time, like, it's really interesting to watch it grow.
What about you, Kat?
I mean, so I had, just talking about like the online community, I had no idea this existed like until just before I think the show was announced. So back in, oh my God, was it 2019? Something like that? Yeah. I had no idea all of this existed. And so, kind of like everyone else has said, it's been so cool connecting with other fans and specifically other queer people who also love this series. So when I first read in, I think, The Great Hunt, the first meeting with Swan and Moraine, I was like, is there something happening here? Is something
really?
happening?
You colored on that from that book?
I was so, yes.
Were you also one of those people that saw a bunch of like Lan and Niney flirting? Because that also did not exist.
I did. I did.
Okay, sure.
Oh, you're so precious,
sure,
Kat.
Okay.
I love you.
I did.
I mean, on the reread, I can see it. It's.
I have to look. You
have
hard.
To look for it. Listen, I grew up in a very conservative religious bubble, and so I was desperate for any kind of queer representation, even if I had to make it up in my head. So the first time when Moraine and Swan like spoke and like their connection was revealed, I was like, huh, this is interesting. I like this dynamic. And then reading New Spring, it was a really validating experience. It was just really validating.
That's even funnier because you saw that from TGH and The Great Aunt, but you only read New Spring a year and a half ago.
Yes, but I knew the general content of New Spring, so I knew what happened, but exactly I didn't actually sit down to read it until a year and a half ago.
I think what happened to me, it's so basically when whatever happened to Moraine at the end of book 5 happened, I was like, I need to fucking know what happened to that character because I was reading that for her. And so I went on like Wikipedia page or whatever that was to find out what was happening to her. And on that it was written that she used to be pillow friend with Swan.
Yes.
So after that made me care a bit more about like Swan and whatever interactions they had in the past. But I don't think I saw it at all. And I was pissed off by the end as a result.
Well, yeah. But that's what's so exciting about the show too. It's like they've taken what what is present in the book. You may have to read, like do a couple reads to see it, but it is there. But they've taken it and expanded on it and made it so much richer and deeper and more meaningful, I think. And it's just, I mean, it's
gayer.
Episode 6. Yeah, gayer. It's, I mean, deeper, richer, gayer. It's a dream, right?
Yeah.
It's so much deeper. Faster, stronger. I don't know. Y'all have these deep stories about why like you like the Wheel of Time and what it means to you as queer people. And here I'm just like, there's super powerful women and I love that.
I mean,
that's really
yes.
that
like
too.
I don't
Absolutely.
have a really deep story about like what the Wheel of Time means to me as a gay. I'm just like, these are badass bitches and I love that.
That's very valid. That's a
That
valid
is
reason
absolutely.
I am not
the Wheel of
deep.
Time.
I am not deep like you all.
Good for you.
For me.
Listen, that is valid. It is so valid because the women in this series are
Amazing.
messy and powerful and amazing. And it's good stuff.
Woman.
It's that it's that meme. It's women.
I don't know. I feel like the fandom makes me like the books more than I would have without the fandom, because the enthusiasm for something and like being able to talk about it is great. And I'm just gonna be honest that parts of the book series just don't catch me that much. It's like, okay, we've been to this camp in Saladar Tier Kuza, whatever the hell it is, whatever town we're traipsing through now, and we've been in this town for like 10 chapters. And nothing's happened, and here's a Forsaken that dies off screen.
You mean this 3.4 million word fantasy could have used editing?
It could have used editing, a lot of it.
Oh, there's a lot of passing issue. There's so much things that. Okay, honestly, if there was not the TV show and the community around that, I probably would not be rereading the books. Like, it was a nice fantasy series. I loved a lot of characters, but it's fun to talk about that. It's fun to make hypotheses of what could be changed to improve on the books, because there's a lot of people that don't want to hear about changes from the books into the TV show. And I'm like, oh no, there's a lot of things that I would cut, change, move around.
Whether you think that the show did a good job or not adapting it, for the record, I do think they did a good job, but like whether or not you agree that they did a good job, like that shit had to be changed. I'm sorry. There's so much that is just not necessary.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's definitely a future episode. Like, we're going to go deep into that.
Sure.
Yeah,
like, I mean, does anyone understand what happened at the end of The Eye of the World?
Nah, and I read like
on an acid trip.
Yes, but I've also
acid trip. Yes,
acid trip. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's messy, but
it is. Yeah,
I kind of get it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, but like sometimes we get it because we want it to make sense, so we're trying to find justification to things that probably don't have justification. It's like we're trying. There's a bunch of situations where like, how does this character know this thing? How does this character did that thing? And I'm like, maybe it's just because it needed to be done. And
I give a lot of leeway for like magic wishy-washiness because it was meant to be a standalone book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, if it didn't get picked up, then it needed to live on its own.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I think it lives well on its own.
I think so too. Yeah.
But it does not match up with what happened later. So I get that. I don't know. Like, it's been super easy for me to like think about what needs to change because I had my headcanon like reading it when I was growing up. And like, Perrin's super gay to me. It's just that, I don't know. There's lots of things where I was like, no, you're not straight. You're gay. This is just, you don't know it yet. That's fine.
Fail's your beard. In addition to your other beard.
No disrespect to Fail. Like, she's fine.
No?
Is she, though?
Uh-oh. No, she's not. I don't like Fail, but whatever.
Hey!
Uh-oh.
There went like half of our listeners.
Uh-oh.
Oopsie.
I'm sorry.
Whoopsie doodle.
Okay, I like Fail, but I don't like that we mostly only see her through parents' eyes.
Yeah. Right.
Voilà.
That is one thing I'm hoping they change for the show, because I really do think she has the potential to be a well done character. And so with the show, like you know, it's obviously it's a different medium, and so I think we just have a lot more opportunities to see her as a character instead of her, like Camille said, through parents' eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not a great relationship. Some people think it's a great relationship. I feel bad for those people.
It was communication.
Again, there goes the other half of our remaining listeners.
I mean, okay, honestly, there's not a lot of great like romantic relationship in the
That
books.
is accurate.
In a sense that there's a lot of ships that we like. There's a lot of
Yes.
characters that we like.
Oh
There's
my
a lot
god,
of
just wait
things
until we
that we
play our
would
game
change.
later.
I
Just wait
know.
until we play
yeah.
our game later.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's gonna
I
be
don't know about
amazing.
you, but Robert Jordan wrote like the best the best romances of all time. Forget,
I mean-
Jane Austen. And
Again,
Jane
I
Austen
have regrets
who?
about starting this podcast.
look, I'm a dumpster rat. You got to take all that comes with that territory.
Half of the time when Matt says this kind of thing, I'm not sure whether it's like serious or sarcastic about it. And so
Being
I'm
super
waiting
serial.
to see. Okay.
No, I also, it takes me a minute until he says something that I'm like, wait.
Jane Austen?
Oh, no, you're
I
fucking
was
with
like,
me.
why
God damn it.
you?
God damn it.
I'm
For
just-
once I thought you were seriously contributing to the conversation, but no.
Oh,
Look, I'm
you
not
do
civilized
seriously
at
contribute to
all.
the You do
You're
seriously
contributing.
contribute to the conversation.
I'm
Don't
sorry
be
to say that. Yes, I'm a mean French person. This is who I am. This is my
Okay,
signature.
well, on the subject of regrets, let's talk about why we wanted to make this podcast.
Perfect
Oops.
segue.
Perfect segue.
Uh-huh.
So, like I mentioned before, I wanted to join it because James found me rooting around in a dumpster and said, "Hey, let's do a podcast." And I was like, "Okay, if there's food."
James's
And
head is now on
So-
their desk. They've
James-
checked out.
We have lost
Yes.
James.
James pulled
James.
me onto the podcast with the promise of free prosciutto that I've yet to be given.
Oh, fuck, I forgot to get you prosciutto at JordanCon.
You did, bitch.
Oh my God.
Can I, Instacart you prosciutto right now?
Because
It's
that's
okay.
how Instacart works.
It's
Why
okay,
are
look,
we
look,
talking
I
about
will-
ham?
I'll just
That's how Instacart works, yes.
I'll just passively aggressively remind you about it throughout the year. Anyways, besides being a dumpster rat, I want to do the podcast because
James, if you're typing on your keyboard, we're going to hear that, so don't order.
Oh, but I wanted
right
to
now.
type in Instacart.
I'm being super serial right now with my answer. So I like talking with
Yes.
people, and I think that maybe diving into these topics with a queer lens will create a space for more queer fans to enjoy the series and pull more fans in both through the show and through the book series, I think.
Yeah.
And because prosciutto.
We want more gay folks.
Prosciutto.
We want
We're
we want the
trying-
TV show to be gayer and gayer, and we want the
Yes.
community to be
Make
gayer
season
and gayer.
2 even
We want an
gayer.
army.
To me.
We want an army of gays, is what we're saying.
I mean, when I randomly went on Twitter as I was going to bed and I'm like, my ideal podcast, I was like, you know what? I mostly just want it because I know there's a lot, it's a very gay fandom, but there's not a dedicated gay place to talk about things.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to create that. And yeah, I guess we can reach more queer people and make a difference in the world and whatever, but I mostly just wanted to talk about gay shit.
I'd like to build a queer army so that I can burn everything to the ground. Like Daenerys Targaryen in the end of... people think that Daenerys was wrong for what she did, but if they were all the patriarchy and straight culture and the court that we will not name right now because I can't talk about that right now because of my mental health, burn it all to the ground with the queer army and the dragons and the Dragon's Peace, specifically Yosha Stradowski's Dragon's Peace.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Perfect.
Girl!
Perfect.
That was
Is that a
savage.
preview of the
Perfection.
rant that people can get?
This is a preview.
This is a preview.
Matt will go on a rant about Yosha Stradowski and how you should watch Just Friends because it's the perfect movie, and I love The Wheel of Time, but it's the best Yosha role.
Well, there you go.
I'm just surprised
Interesting.
people thought Daenerys did something wrong. I thought it was reasonable.
Well,
I mean,
She
I
didn't
don't
have her
know.
coffee. She left her
Everything.
Starbucks at Winterfell.
she left her Starbucks at Winterfell. That's right.
I am also a bitch when it comes to being undercaffeinated. I get it.
Mhm.
I also,
It
if I
does
could
things.
burn down an entire city because I forgot my coffee, I probably would. So it's really good I don't have that power.
you are
It's for
all
the best.
worrying me. I don't know what I'm doing here anymore.
The dawning horror on Camille's face is just
Why am I doing
I think
here? Someone
At
save
this
me!
point, At this point, I think Kat is the only one that hasn't had like severe regrets about this. So
No, I love it. Give me more chaos. I thrive on chaos.
Yes, that's true. We wanted to bring
love
chaos
magic.
too. I
The
was
more
very
that I make
interesting by
James
the
put their
chaos.
head down, the more I
Mhm.
thrive. My goal by the end of this first season is to make Kat crack. I've
would like to
already
see
made
it.
Camille crack several times and, physically assault me, but that's another story.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I didn't assault you, okay? I just bumped into your shoulder a bit
You took
repetitively.
Just
brass
enough.
knuckles to me and beat me bloody behind the hotel. And then you
But
kicked me
voyons,
into the
et puis
river.
encore. I did not do that. It's
where
not
is there a
my fault.
river by the hotel?
There's a river behind Jordan Con.
The river.
That's not a river. That's a gentle stream.
Oh, whatever the hell it is.
And we were
She
not
kicked
even
me out of
there.
the 10th story room and with her brass knuckles and into the river, and I fell. And
It was actually the 15th
It's a
floor.
drama.
yeah, no, it was a 13th floor because the hotel
13th
rooms
floor.
don't do 13, and
Mm-hmm.
our hotel room was on 14 something.
Well,
If you say so, I have no idea. I don't remember.
No, I have a
that.
good memory, which is why I remember you throwing me out of the hotel window.
That's not true.
This is your
People
super
are
villain
gonna
origin
say-
story.
People are gonna think that I'm like brutal, and okay, maybe that's true, but I did not do that.
I'm just saying, like, one of my badge ribbons next year is "Don't fuck with Camille"
mm-hmm.
Why?
I mean,
because
come
it's
on.
accurate.
I mean, it kind of is. It kind of like
Sure,
I
if you say so.
Look, this is what happened. So I told Gus from Gus and Allie's wholesome
We'll
podcast.
Mhm.
Yes, we'll take
That you should all listen to.
yes.
Yes. I told Gus that the four of us were planning on a podcast potentially, which is why Camille was asking him for advice on, I think, recording. And
Yeah.
then Camille just punched me several times in the elbow and the arm. I mean, like the upper arm, the bicep. And I
Yes,
might
because
have
I
made
thought we were
secret.
supposed to keep it secret, and then you were there, like in front of a bunch of people, like, "Hey, we're gonna start a podcast."
doing
I'm
I
like,
haven't even told my
Nonsense.
husband about this because I'm afraid of Camille.
I mean, okay, so maybe I exaggerated a little bit about the brass knuckles and throw me out the window, but the rest happened.
A little bit exaggerated,
Just
yeah,
a tiny
sure.
bit.
A tiny
Just
bit.
a little bit. Yeah, I do remember being on Discord and chatting with you all a little bit while Jordan Con was going on, and hearing about this story, and then Matt me being like, "LOL," and Matt being like, "No, seriously, Camille just punched me."
They did, and I'm shaking right now. I'm shaking in my
the memory.
I'm shaking in my gym shorts.
So anyway, never push
Memory.
Matt in the elbow because he still remind you about that in like a few months, and that's
Yep.
going to be the only story we'll
It's
have
been a
about
few
me.
weeks. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
and I'm sure that in 2 months you will still talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Matt does hold grudges really well, especially when they're fictional.
I mean, I've held a grudge against my childhood
was a
bully
burn.
for like 20 years, so.
Mm-hmm. Are you a
And
Capricorn
that's why
by
you're
any
such
chance,
a like
Matt?
wonderful, wholesome, well-adjusted person.
Wait, Kat, yes, Kat, I am a Capricorn. I was born on Friday the 13th in January.
I can't believe that you guessed that so easily, Kat.
Kat, what am I?
A bitch.
Thank you. Thank you.
the rare zodiac sign, bitch.
Happened on the
You are-
13th month.
Let's see. I feel like you are a fire sign. I want to say Leo because I think that does fit your personality, but also maybe Aries. I'm gonna go with Leo because that was my first guess. What sign are you?
No.
No. Are you a
What
fire
are
sign?
you?
I'm not. No, you have to go through this
I
entire
have to
cycle.
go through this. Oh no,
you
there's
got it
12
on the first try
though.
with Matt.
I did.
So you're
That's
gonna do
true.
me.
If you want, you can make an
I
easy guess
said-
for mine.
I've set a Are you a Capricorn as well, Camille?
No.
You're not. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
my
No, no,
whole
back to
motivation in life is sleep and food. So now you can make a guess.
Oh, so Taurus.
Obviously.
Taurus.
James
Yeah.
is a Libra.
You're a Libra.
I'm not a Libra.
You're not a
James
Libra.
is a Pisces.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
I like
playing
that Matt
Cat.
is just
Cat.
Kat
Kat
just going
is
to
doing
say
this. We can
everything.
edit this part out later. Kat is doing this. This is a fun game for
I'm
me.
not gonna edit that out. I
Okay,
am decided what I'm editing, okay?
guys, this is serious astrology business. I need to focus on this.
As
Kat's
serious
being
as
super
astrology can
serial.
be, yes.
Yes. Okay. Not a Leo.
Super serial.
Let's see. Sagittarius.
Yes. On the cusp of Scorpio.
On the cusp of... That makes so much sense.
I was going to guess
I have
Scorpio.
no idea what you just said, but
That makes
whatever.
so much sense because of the water signs, Scorpio is the fieriest of the water signs. And that makes sense. But you're a
What
Sagittarius.
kind of a sign is
Okay.
Capricorn? Is it like fire, earth, air, water, darkness?
Earth. Darkness. I mean, primarily darkness.
Destruction.
Secondary is earth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like plants.
There you go.
I like burning things, so it fits.
Did we all
Something.
talk about why we wanted to make that podcast? Because I
No, we got a
James-
little bit sidetracked.
No, a little
little.
sidetracked.
Yeah, y'all never stay on topic.
No, it's.
Wow.
I mean,
Y'all.
that's. I think that's going to be
Y'all.
a recurring theme here.
I'm
It's okay,
perfectly
we're here
on
for the
topic.
chaos.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Okay, I
chaotic
said I
gays.
wanted to start it because it would be nice to be like to talk about gay shit, and I manifested it.
Yes.
Matt said it would be nice to talk about gay stuff and explore topics.
Mhm.
And you found me in a dumpster.
Me,
I wanted to. I don't know. I saw your tweet and I was like, "Oh, nice." I didn't think it would think about that about me for that idea. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, nice." And then I was like, "I really, really, really want to do that just because I need more folks to talk about shit like that." And here am I. I tried to lower down my excitement in my answers to not seem too needy. I'm not sure I managed to do that, but at first I was like all caps saying, "Yes, we need to do that right now."
yeah, I remember waking up to a group DM from Kat.
Yes,
quoting
I
the
was so
tweet and
happy
being
when she
like- and
started.
I'm like,
DM.
Well,
Yep.
that was when I remembered that I actually did it, that I actually tweeted that, because I was like, oh, that wasn't just one of those bedtime thoughts that I kept to myself.
It actually happened. I know. I mean, when I responded to it, I was like, yes, absolutely. And then went to bed because it was super late and woke up and was like, did I dream that? Did that happen? But there it was on Twitter.
It's immortal now.
Exactly.
Everything that happens on Twitter is real.
is real. Absolutely. It's completely real.
Yes, it
You
makes
manifest it.
sense.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we want to play our game?
Let's play
Yes.
the game.
Let's
Let's
play
play
the
the
game.
game.
Okay. For
So
our
the idea-
listeners, every episode we are going to end the episode doing something silly. When we planned doing this, we thought we were going to be super serious throughout the entire thing,
Super
and we would
surreal.
save all of the silliness for the end. Clearly,
So
that
we-
didn't happen.
So we put silliness in the beginning and middle and ending.
Yes.
But now this is purposeful silliness.
Yes.
So
Intentional.
this game is going to be called Crack Ships. We have a listing of every single character in the Wheel of Time.
We should
I
have
have
found a better
chosen
name for that
two-
game.
Okay, we can
Well,
edit that.
We'll workshop
Crack
it. We'll
ships.
workshop
No,
it.
no, we don't need to edit it. But if anyone has an idea of that should be called.
Mhm.
But
Hey,
anyway, keep
listeners.
going. Sorry, I did not
Okay.
intend to interrupt you.
She'll
I'm
punch
very
you.
bad at
Nope.
that. I will not
They'll
punch
punch you.
anyone. Stop.
Okay, for our listeners at home, we're going to play a game called Crack Ships, which
Mhm.
apparently Camille is not happy with. So if you would like to rename that, please, we are looking for suggestions. So we have a list of every single character in the Wheel of Time. I have chosen 2 at random, which I am now going to share with the other hosts.
Oh boy.
So first objective is to remember
Oh,
who those
boy.
characters are,
This is yeah.
and then to figure out how they would have met
Oh
and
god.
how we
Okay.
could ship them.
So our first character
Yes.
is Jur Grady, who is a dedicated Ashaman.
I know who that is. I definitely
I know it's
who
a name
that
in the
is.
Wheel of Time, and I know he's
Yes.
like somewhat important, but
Mhm.
I don't remember much about him.
Okay.
But our second character
yes, okay,
is our beloved Ila, the Tuathon married to Rain.
Jesus.
Ouch.
So when we were workshopping this, like Matt kind of took it away and ran with it. So I really want to hear, Matt, I want to hear how Jur Grady and Ila, the Tuathon woman, met up.
At the last battle. Wait, I don't remember whether that dude died or not, but if he's alive, it's at the last battle.
Okay, so Grady and Neil channel gateways for Perrin's troops to catch up with the Shido, and he last appears in Winter's Heart. So, yeah, the Tuathon, because they're a bunch of like hippies, like vegan hippies, they're running away from the last battle. And Ila has decided that she no longer believes in the Whaley because, this shit's getting real. The last battle's here.
Shit.
So she just stabs her husband in the back because, Aram's dead.
Oh my God!
If Aram had not been disillusioned with all of this Tuathon stuff that then radicalized him into violence, this never would have happened. So she kills her husband and she runs off to join the last battle. And Jur Grady is there and he's blasting things with his rod of manliness, and it's just blasting Trollocs away.
What the fuck is happening?
And she just thinks that this man who is like 50 years younger than her is just so hot. So she sees a Trolloc coming for him, and she runs to save him, and he sees her just in the nick of time and blasts the Trolloc and her, and she falls into his arms, and he's really sad.
Oh my God.
And so he calls over Nynaeve, who's not at the thing place with Randon, whatever the hell the other woman's name was. And she heals Ila, and then Ila robs that cradle right on the last battlefield. Like they're just going at it. Because, she's old and she's lost her grandson and killed her husband and abandoned her faith. And she just wants a piece of that Juicy Grady. Jur Grady.
Oh my gosh.
Not the Jerusi.
He's Juicy
so
Jur
many
Grady.
regrets.
Not the Jerusi.
I have so many regrets.
So he heals.
Maybe I'm
finishes
gonna
her
kill
healing.
that. I don't know whether we can do that.
We can say Jerusi.
She gets that Jerusi.
She gets that Jerusi.
And he heals her with this manly young stud rod of magical
please stop.
Oh my God.
Someone make it stop.
Okay,
And they get married and they have babies.
Okay, I had another
Where
story.
is- Where is Sora, Jur Grady's wife, in all of this?
Does
Oh,
Jur
she's
Grady
dead.
have a wife?
We fridged her.
Both me and we were like, wait, what?
We fridged her.
No.
I had another theory that could be fun.
Oh my
is
God.
someone actually needs to go to Ila and Ran to tell them about the death of Aram, because has anyone even told them that?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think anyone takes the time to tell them that their grandson is dead. So the Ashaman that you're gonna have to spell me that name because I have no idea who that is. But anyway, since he makes photos,
Jur. Jur.
Sure.
Grady. Anyway,
Grady.
he's a nice Ashaman, so he actually asked Perrin where he could find the Tuathahan to at least tell them that their grandkid is dead. And I will not go further into how whatever happens between Ila and him, but something happens.
That belongs in the Tinker Caravan.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in the Tinker Caravan stays in the Tinker Caravan.
Exactly.
Title of the podcast.
Yeah.
Title of the episode. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Title of the episode. We found it.
We found it.
I don't think I can make any story that's greater than the one that Matt made. I don't think I can do any better.
It's just an excuse not to have to say anything.
I mean, you know what, Camille? You are absolutely
I'm broken. Jerusi broke me. Jerusi broke me.
Not yet, it didn't.
Matt's like, oh, just you wait. I have so much more.
There's a sequel.
No! No, what's the sequel?
And the sequel
I don't-
will be for the
I don't
next
know, I just
episode
wanted-
because we are not gonna do that.
Oh my god, if we keep playing this game, there's gonna have to be like some continuity between them.
Mhm.
We're gonna need a wiki
Nah.
for this.
We're gonna need to keep
Nah.
track of this. This is
The
gonna.
sequel's called Left My Jorisi at the Last Battle.
No.
And then
Anyway,
it becomes
that be
a
the name
time
of the
traveling
episode?
romance.
I'm gonna go to sleep thinking about Jurassic though. That's
no,
gonna
please don't. Please forget about
That's-
that. Get a drink
I
or
can't.
whatever, but forget
I
about it.
can't.
Anyway, so this is about it, I think.
Follow us on Twitter
Yeah, at Queers
at
of
Queers
Time.
of Time. I think I don't know if we're gonna have our Instagram set up at that point, but sure. Everywhere on the internet, we are Queers of Time.
Yes.
Yes.
I like that one of the notes in Jur Grady's wiki entry is Perrin comes to trust him. The Path of Daggers, Chapter 7. I'm like, expand on that.
Perrin just comes to trust him.
Perrin comes.
Can we,
Perrin comes.
I don't
Deep
know.
We're gonna stop
Deep
here.
breath.
Hey, everyone, that was fun.
Yeah, thank you for listening. If you still want to listen to us, I'm sorry, but thank you.
But also, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just want to thank everyone for listening, and if you made it through, thank you for that. And I do not assume legal responsibilities for any trauma that you may have sustained while listening to me talk.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.